Testing. Hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Oh, Steam has to start. Great. Are you gonna start Skyrim, though? You gonna play the game? No, you're not gonna play the game? Alright, there we go. Hello, everybody in YouTube. It's story time. It should say in the title story time. If it doesn't, yell at me. Yeah, this is going to be stories. I'm going to go grab those books in that castle, read the books, all of them, and then sell the books. I just let the bunch of guards kill a dragon for me, and then I let a bunch of guards kill a bunch of bandits for me. The bandits were trying to kill me. So let's run to the castle, which is...
Watch it. Mind yourself.
Really? You're gonna get mad that I touched you? It's this way.
For I love you. I love.
Really? I don't even have my fire out, do I? No, I don't even have my fire out. Yeah, get on my way. Oh, what? That was weird. Why couldn't I open the door unless I turned my fire out? Alright. Let's grab all the books we can find.
Why, Ismail, you did it. You killed the dragon.
I was there.
Nobody high and mighty in these halls, except in the yard. Don't you forget.
Alright. I want that. Again, someone should tell me if there's an easy way to just take... Oh, I'm already carrying too much to be able to run. That's unfortunate. Why do all these books have to weigh so much? Don't they have a Kindle system set up? Magic Kindle? Alright, I think that's all. I should go into first person view for this, probably. Oh, right. Inventory. Uh-huh. Let's see, weapons. Do I have anything that's a... Ah, interesting. Apparel. It's a lot less armor. Yeah, it's okay. I am going to drop that. And I really want to sell all this, actually. Oh, it's mostly just books, isn't it? Holy crap. Potions seem OP. Scroll. Food. Also, maybe I should cook stuff, even though I just ate most of my ingredients, I think. Holy crap. I need storage. Where can I buy? I have to talk to the one guy. Right? To, Oh, I've got all these dragon bones and stuff. You know, I have no idea if I'm just supposed to sell these or if they turn into armor later. Huh. I really should have looked that up. Alright, whatever. We'll just read all the shit we have, and then next time we'll come back here and get more books. Alright, so it's story time. Let's sit in the chair. And let's read some stories. Even if I'm not reading all of them. A Gentleman's Guide to Whiterun by Mikkel the Bard. Welcome, good sir, to this indispensable guide. Within these pages, I, your humble author and guide, will describe to you the great city of Whiterun, the jewel of the North. Whiterun offers numerous diversions for the man in search of adventure, fortune, and companionship, whether for a night or a lifetime. The city is graced with not one, but 2 worthy taverns, and there are maids and wenches aplenty. The city is located rather centrally in Skyrim, and this is well, for it is not far from anywhere. Didn't say that right. Perched high upon a rocky hill, Whiterun dominates the grassy plains that surround it. High wooden walls protect its denizen from the wolves, mammoths, bandits, and other dangers lurking beyond. When you first enter through the city's main gate, you will find yourself in the Plains District. This is so named because it is the lowest of the city's 3 neighborhoods. But here can be found the Bannered Mare, which I count among the finest taverns in all Skyrim. The scenery within is quite compelling if you have an eye for the fairer sex. A stout lass named Hulda tends the bar. Don't let that stony Nord exterior fool you, for she is possessed of that same fiery passion that all Nord women try so hard to conceal. Sadia, the barmaid, is an exotic Redguard beauty. She is quite mysterious and your humble author is determined to learn her secrets. Outside the Banner Mare is a modest marketplace, and here is where I found true love. Though I would never deter a fellow hunter-hound from the chase, for indeed, why should I, the author these tomes? For indeed, why should I author these tomes, if not to provide guidance in this very matter? I must ask you that you do me this one kindness. Her name is Carlotta Valentia, and she is a magnificent beauty who makes a modest living selling bread and produce in the daylight hours. By the gods, I will make that feisty beauty mine someday. And of course, there are other services to be found in the Plains District. Bellathor's General Goods offers various and sundry wares for the adventurous traveler, and Arcadia's Cauldron offers what tonics and herbs one would expect from an apothecary's shop. Arcadia herself is an amiable sort. I often visit her to make conversation, as she is a fellow Imperial far from home. She is, however, a bit old for my taste. A gentleman of advanced years might find in her a worthy companion. Should you need your blades sharpened or your armor hammered, war maidens offer smithing services very near the main gate. The smith is a very pretty Nord named Adriana Avancini, but she is married to a great-hulking brute named Ulfberth Warbear. Adrienne is quite fair, but I should not want to find myself being introduced to the keen edge of that husband's war axe. If married ladies are your preferred sport, then have at it, but don't say that you weren't warned. Near to the smith is the drunken huntsman. Here, some of the wealthier gentlemen gather to share both drink and rumors of the wide world. If you prefer a more distinguished class of company while you sip fine wine, you'll be well at home here. Of the Wind District I have little to say. Most of the buildings in the second tier of the city are residences. though there is also a temple of Kainerith and Jorvaskar, the mead hall of the champions. There are some intriguing prospects to be found in the mead hall should you favor a strong and fearless warrior woman. You will find little game at the temple, however. The priestess Danica Purespring is interested almost exclusively in spiritual matters. At last we come to the Cloud District, the exclusive domain of the Jarl's castle. I have had some merry adventures within the stone walls of Dragonreach, let me tell you. The servant girls are most easily impressed by a well-spoken Imperial. After all, the nights in Skyrim do grow quite cold, if you take my meaning. And I will not deny that I have visited the town's jail once or twice, which can be found in the lower levels of the palace. As for the Jarl at his court, take pains to avoid them. I find they lack any sense of humor or appreciation for the Imperial culture. Besides which, they are all wealthy men, so they must be viewed as your most serious competition. These Nords are simple folk, after all, and too easily swayed by the sight of fine clothes and a purse full of septims. Now I will conclude this work by wishing you great success in your pursuits of women and wine. Spare a moment in your revels to think of me, your humble author, and the risks I have taken to bring you this most thorough report on all things of interest to the discerning gentleman in the grand city of Whiterun. But I will not lie and say that it was all a hardship. After all, who could want to sleep alone in such a cold and hard land as this? Not I. Alright, so this guy's like kind of a pervert, or whatever, a racist pervert. Racist, sexist pervert. How do I get back? Alright. No. What the heck? Why doesn't my... Oh. I don't understand. Why doesn't my mouse... Interesting. Uh-oh. Alright. I don't know what's going on there. The Antecedents of Dwenmere Law. This book is a historical account of the development of Dwenmere law and customs from its roots in High Elven culture. Fancy eye. In short, so far as I am able to trace the order of development in the customs of the Bosmere tribes, I believe it to have been in all ways comparable to the growth of Altmiri law. The earlier liability for slaves and animals was mainly confined to surrender, which, as in Somerset Isles, later became compensation. And what does this matter for a study of our laws today? So far as concerns the influence of the Altmiri law upon our own, especially the Altmiri law of master and servant, the evidence of it is to be found in every judgment which has been recorded for the last 500 years. It has been stated already that we still repeat the reasoning of the Altmiri magistrates, empty as it is, to the present day. And I will quickly show how Altmiri custom can be followed into the courts of the Dwemer. In the laws of Carnder Watch, PD 1180, it is said, if one who is owned by another slays one who owns himself, the owner must pay the associates 3 fine instruments and the body of the one who is owned. There are many other similar citations. And the same principle is extended even to the case of a centurion killed by which a man is killed. If at a common workbench one is slain by an animunculi, the associates of the slain may disassemble the animunculi and take its parts within 30 days. It is instructive to compare what Dark has mentioned concerning the rude beasts of the Tenmar forests. If a marsh cat was killed by an Argonian, his family were in disgrace till they retaliated by killing the Argonian, or another like it. But further, if a marsh cat was killed by a fall from a tree, his relatives would take their revenge by toppling the tree, and shattering its branches, and casting them to every part of the forest. Sure. Averil's Journal. My fingers are trembling. The golden claw is finally in my hands, and with it, the power of the ancient Nordic heroes. That fool Lucan Valerius had no idea that his favorite store decoration was actually the key to Bleak Falls Barrow. Now I just need to get to the Hall of Stories and unlock the door. The legend says there is a test that the Nords put in place to keep the unworthy away, but that when you have the golden claw, the solution is in the palm of your hand. And then he got trapped by a spider and burned to death, so good on him. Bounty. Bounty. By order of Balgruuf the Greater, to all able-bodied men and women of Whiterun, the bandits located in Halted Steam Camp have been harassing, robbing, and attacking citizens and visitors. A reward will be offered to anyone who kills their leader, Proventius Evenensi, who was in the book before. A Brief History of the Empire, version 2. Part 2, by Stannark Cethunge III, Imperial Historian. Volume 1 of this series described in brief the lives of the first 8 emperors of the Septim dynasty, beginning with the glorious Tiberius Septim and ending with his great-great-great-great-grandniece, Kintyra II. Jeez, sorry. Kintyra's murder in Glenport, while in captivity, is considered by some to be the end of the pure strain of Septim blood in the imperial family. Certainly it marks the end of something significant. Uriel III not only proclaimed himself Emperor of Tamriel, but also Uriel Septim III, taking the eminent surname as a title. In truth, his surname was Mantirico, from his father's line. In time, Uriel III was disposed and his crimes revealed, but the tradition of taking the name Septim as a title for the Emperor of Tamriel did not die with him. For 6 years, the War of the Red Diamond, which takes its name from the Septim family's famous badge, tore the empire apart. The combatants were the 3 surviving children of Pelagus II, Potemia, and Sepphoris, and Magnus, and their various offspring. Potemia, of course, supported her son Uriel III, and had the combined support of all Skyrim and northern Morrowind. With the efforts of Sepphoris and Magnus, however, the province of High Rock turned coat. The provinces of Hammerfell, Somerset Isle, Valenwood, Elsewhere, and the Black Marsh were divided in their loyalty, but most kings supported Sepphoris and Magnus. In 3 Eid 127, Uriel III was captured at the Battle of Ichadag in Hammerfall, en route to his trial in the imperial city. A mob overtook his prisoner's carriage and burned him alive within it. His captor and uncle continued on to the imperial city, and by common acclaim was proclaimed Sepphoris I, Emperor of Tamriel. Sepphoris's reign was marked by nothing but war. By all accounts, he was a kind and intelligent man, but what Tamriel needed was a great warrior, and he, unfortunately, was that. It took an additional 10 years of constant warfare for him to defeat his sister Potema, the so-called Wolf Queen of Solitude, who died in the siege of her city-state in the year 137. Sepphoris survived his sister by only 3 years. He never had time during the war years to marry, so it was his brother, the fourth child of Pelagus II, who assumed the throne. The Emperor Magnus was already elderly when he took up the imperial diadem, and the business of punishing the traitorous king of the War of the Red Diamond drained much of his remaining strength. Legend accuses Magnus's son and heir, Pelagus III, of patricide, but that seems highly unlikely for no other reason than that Pelagus was king of Solitude following the death of Potema and seldom visited the imperial city. Pelagius III, sometimes called Pelagius the Mad, was proclaimed emperor in the 145th year of the Third Era. Almost from the start, his eccentricities of behavior were noted at court. He embarrassed dignitaries, offended his vassal king, and on one occasion marked the end of an imperial grand ball by attempting to hang himself. His long-suffering wife was finally awarded the regency of Tamriel, and Pelagius III was sent to a series of healing institutions and asylums until his death in the Third Era, 153, at the age of 34. The Empress Regent of Tamriel was proclaimed Empress Kateria I upon the death of her husband. Some who do not mark the end of the Septim bloodline with the death of Kintyra II consider the ascendancy of this dark elf woman the true mark of its decline. Her defenders, on the other hand, assert that though Katerra was not descended from Tiber, the son she had with Pelagus was, so the imperial chain did continue. Despite racist assertions to the contrary, Kataria's 46-year reign was one of the most celebrated in Tamriel's history. Uncomfortable in the imperial city, Kataria traveled extensively throughout the empire, such as no emperor ever had since Tiber's day. She repaired much of the damage that previous emperors' broken alliances and bungled diplomacy created. The people of Tamriel came to love their empress far more than the nobility did. Kataria's death in a minor skirmish in Black March is a favorite subject of conspiracy-minded historians. The sage Montileus' discovery, for instance, of a disenfranchised branch of the Septim family and their involvement with the skirmish was a revelation indeed. When Cassander assumed the throne upon the death of his mother, he was already middle-aged. Only half-elven, he aged like a Breton. In fact, he had left the rule of Wayrest to his half-brother, Uriel, due to poor health. Nevertheless, as the only true blood relation of Pelagus and thus Tiber, he was pressed into accepting the throne. To no one's surprise, the Emperor Cassander's reign did not last long. In 2 years, he joined his predecessors in eternal slumber. Uriel Lariat, Cassander's half-brother, and the child of Catria I and her imperial consort, Galaver Lariat, after the death of Pelagius III, left the kingdom of Wayrest to reign as Uriel IV. Legally, Uriel IV was a septim. Cassander had adopted him into the royal family when he had become king of Wayrest. Nevertheless, to the council and the people of Tamriel, he was a bastard child of Kataria, Uriel did not possess the dynamism of his mother, and his long 43-year reign was a hotbed of sedation. Uriel, the fourth story, is told in the 3rd volume of this series. God, it's been 25 minutes already. Use the agreed upon amount. I expect you to faithfully carry out my request to teach a lesson to the thief Splents. You need not kill him, but I have no qualms about it if you deem it necessary. Orgnar. Who's Orgnar? I'm going to write that down. Well, I'm going to take a break, and then I'm going to look up who Orgnar is. And then I'm going to come back and read the rest of these books. What have I done? Oh God, there's songs? Alright.